As soon as I go onto the field before a game and I rush out to the entrance, I find my 22-yard line, say my prayer, and just tell Tyler that he's about to just watch one of the greatest movies he's ever seen.
The it factor, the most overused and undefinable phrase in sports. If you have it, everyone knows it.
Trent McDuffie applying the rubber.
The qualities that many desire, but very few possess.
Dropped in the backfield by Thibodeau.
Well, what really is it? Who has it? And how did they get it?
Britton Covey gives Utah a jolt of momentum.
That's what we're here to discover. We'll take the helmet off the Pac-12's elite performers to learn more about their journey towards success on Saturdays. I'm Yogi Roth, and welcome to the It Factor. All right, welcome back, or welcome to the It Factory. We got another episode, and I'm so excited about today's episode because it's with Trent McDuffie. If you follow anything in college football, you know exactly who Trent McDuffie is. He's one of the top corners in the nation, but as we will learn in this dialogue, he's one of the top humans I've ever met in my career. It's my 21st year of college football, and he is a first ballot all-human player for me. So with that, Trent, you're all everything. You're an All-American candidate. You're a first-round potential NFL draft pick. Most importantly, you're a leader at UW, and you're an incredible young man. I want to welcome you to the show.
Thank you so much, Yogi. Nice to see you again.
Yes, it is nice to see you again as well. It's been a minute since we've hung out. Last time we saw each other was early in the season, in the summer at Media Days. But of course, I'm tracking you and watching all the little things you're doing within your career. So I want to kick it off with the first question is, there's a great lineage of DBs at the university you're at. What's it like now being the voice of that position group after it's had so much success over the last decade?
Yeah, I think it's definitely cool. Coming from high school and starting to learn more about UW from SoCal, so it's always USC to me. So coming out here and coming into Seattle and meeting guys like Elijah Molden and Miles Bryant, and then flipping on the tape and watching Little Baker and Byron Murphy and all these guys, and kind of learning about how they ran things, and now being able to step into this role of the leader of the DB room, the defense, and kind of becoming this spokesperson for UW. It's cool just seeing that these guys from the past are able to talk to me now and kind of steer me down the right path and give me some wisdoms that I can give it to the young guys and kind of keep this ball rolling as we go throughout this year.
When you were the young guy, did you envision yourself stepping into the role of some of the vets that had been there before you?
I definitely did think about it, but not really, to be honest. It was always just a here now mindset. Like I've talked to you before, I'm a big guy on just my time. It's very valuable and I don't take it for granted. So as a young guy, I was always just, what can I do today? What can I do tomorrow? What can I do this season even? And that's kind of been my mind step. And now that I'm here, now that I'm the older guy and seeing the young guys come in, it's kind of cool because I can look back and be like, whoa, this is how I was thinking. I didn't think about what I'm doing now, but now that I'm here, I'm thankful for all the knowledge that I grasp and listening to all the older guys who taught me along the way that I kind of just instilled in myself, and now it's kind of cool to just give it to others.
You know, one of my favorite phrases is "Be where your feet are." It's a T-shirt that I wear pretty regularly. When you are, if you go back in time, like the high-profile recruit that you were, that's what it sounds like to me. It's like you were connected to the moment, year one, year two, here we are, year three. How do you do that for somebody that's 18, 19, 20 years old?
I think a big part of it was just kind of the history I had and the tight-knit family that I've been a part of. Older brothers, older sister, both parents in the household is a huge blessing. And I mean, my mom and dad are both very successful people in the business that they do. And they kind of instilled in me just this mindset of, you know, just be the best person you can be each and every day. That's the only thing I can control. That's the only thing anybody can really control. And that's really stuck with me. And even throughout high school, I mean, I've transferred 3 times, 3 different high schools, always just looking to a better spot for me and what I can do for myself. But at the end of the day, it was always just how am I going to be able to hold myself when I go to different spots? You know, I've gone to 3 different high schools, and hopefully at all 3, I've left a good impression for myself. And I just hope that people can look at me one day and just say, you know, this is somebody who does it right, and it's just somebody who's always there and always got your back, because I know for me, when I'm able to look up to people and know that, I can rely on them, they're accountable, it's joyful and it's more of a respectful thing for me.
Joyful, respectful, words that you've said many times. I don't think those words just pop into somebody's vocabulary. Like there was an imprint, there was an example of that. Where did that begin for you, the appreciation of like specific moments?
Yeah, I mean, my dad was in the military and he's a firefighter now, so I've learned at a young age about just a brotherhood, about being accountable, about holding your own in face of a team aspect. Both my brothers played high school football, so I grew up watching them and kind of just understood and learning from them. And then tragedy happened in my family, which people know about with my older brother, kind of just set me back a little bit and allowed for me to really understand myself more and understand the world around me and how people react and my feelings and emotions and really hone in on just who I am as a person. Because, like I said, time is valuable and we never know when the day comes that our time strikes. And I just hope that each and every day I can just be a positive light to people, because that is what I want my legacy to be. Someone who's there for you, someone who's accountable, and someone who just brings that positive energy to the world.
I have a feeling the title of the show is going to be Trent McDuffie, a positive light to the world. You referenced tragedy. You shared that on our network at Media Days very willingly, with incredible vulnerability, man. And we respect that space. And you and I talked about it before coming on air. I'd love if you can elaborate and share some of that story of what happened in your life with the loss of a loved one and what your relationship was like with him.
Yeah. That was my older brother. His name's Tyler. It's my guy. Always been kind of the protective brother, I would say. Out of all my brothers, he was always the one who looked out for the youngins, especially me. Growing up with older brothers, you always get into your little brotherly, fights here and there, but he's always the one who got my back, always the one when I needed homework or anything. That was my dude, for real. And he got sick one day and one thing led to another and he tragically passed away. And it was hard for our family. I mean, it was the first real time that a loved one super close to me passed away, and it struck hard. It was hard. And for a long time, it was more of a just putting those emotions aside, trying to focus on what's ahead, focus on the things in my future. And I give big credit to my family, not only for supporting me in times of being hard, but being able to just allow for me to just go to them and just really be open and honest with my mom, my dad, even my older sister, where we're a family where, emotions, you don't really talk about emotions too much, It's more of a understanding when you need help, we got you, but we're strong-willed people and we kind of go about our life that way. But we don't just peel those layers back and really just understand where these emotions came from and understand what happened with my brother and how that impacted me, how that impacted my family was big for me. And over COVID, especially when you just sat back and we couldn't do anything. Football was taken away. Couldn't go out and do our daily lives. We kind of just had to sit there and just wait, to be honest. And I took that as a huge moment to really understand what has happened in my life, what has happened through high school, what has happened in my first journey through college, and understand everything that has happened. And at the end of the day, it really came back to knowing that it's okay to feel emotions. It's okay to be emotional, to be vulnerable. And to be honest, sharing that with people can be pretty impactful. I've always been a guy who's been I want to impact everybody in my life. And I've kind of took it a step back from that and been like, as long as I can go out one day and just give one person a smile or let somebody laugh or even just look at me and be like, I might not be having a good day, but I know he may not either. He's human. I'm human. We're football players, we're D1 athletes, these big guys you may see on TV, we're all the same. I mean, we all have emotions. We all deal with certain things in our personal lives. And I think it's just what you can do during those times that really make you who you are.
Do you remember where you were the first time you heard that Tyler was sick?
Yeah.
What was that like?
I mean, when he first got sick, it was a cold. So nobody was really thinking too hard about it. It was just your average cold. So it was about 2 weeks after when he finally went to the hospital. And even then, I was young. It was still, it's okay. Like, he's going to get better, just your average sickness. Went in to get a doctor check. And I remember waking up in the morning at 6 a.m. that I always used to do. And it was the first time that my grandma was there with me. My parents were gone. Everybody was gone. And my dad came home and broke the news to myself and my little brother on our way to the hospital to go see him. And yeah, it was hard. I mean, there's not much you can really say about it. Broke down in tears and kind of just, I don't know. It was a empty feeling. It was a feeling of, hopelessness. I would say, like, wow, this is happening to me. This is happening to my family, and man, this happened to him. Someone I look up to, someone that I see as my brother. That's my guy. Someone I come home to every day because he still lived with us and help me with homework or watch some film even, or just talk about crazy karate movies and listen to Wu-Tang, which was his favorite. It was just the memories that I have of him. And just knowing that I couldn't make that anymore was tough.
What was he battling against?
Man, it was a whole bunch of things. The doctors don't really know. But it was like bronchitis, leukemia type of thing. But I don't want to say exactly what it is because I don't really know. But it was along those lines of lungs and heart. And at the end of the day, he had a heart attack, and that's what finally allowed him.
You referenced Wu-Tang. You referenced watching crazy ninja movies. When you saw him towards the end, did you know it was coming? And if so, did you say whatever it is that you needed to say?
Yeah, no, I never knew. It was honestly the biggest shock that has ever happened in my life. It was just one day you go to sleep normal and the next day you wake up and your whole world is flipped upside down. So I think that has honestly allowed me to go into different situations and be fearless almost. I go on the football field, I always talk about fearlessness. Like, I'm not a person who has fear in my body. I don't think I was made that way, and things that has happened in my life, I think it's just made me more confident in it. And, you never know what's going to happen at any part of the day. And you just have to rely on who you are, rely on your faith, whatever it may be, who you believe in, and rely on the support system that you have, because those are the people that are going to be there each and every day.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, man. Like, my dad had beat cancer. My mom died from it about a year ago. And I remember, like, when other people had suffered loss, I would, of course, be empathetic, just like any one of us would be. But until you really dealt with, like, the loss of a loved one, and I can't imagine if it was a sibling, like, you'd really, like, it's a pain that I didn't know I could go that deep. When you got low, you referenced COVID. Like, what was it like when it was low for you?
It was a feeling that I was kind of alone in it. Even though I knew I wasn't alone, it was a sense of it was just me. Like, I'm the only one feeling this way, or I'm the only one who was dealing with this, and I'm the only one who's had these thoughts about certain things. And COVID brought that to me just because I'm always on a go schedule as far as football, school, this and that, and everything just stopped. And so I was like, wait, it's quiet. I don't have to wake up at a certain time, And it was almost a opposite effect of, instead of being like, okay, this is great, I get all this time to do what I love and watch movies, it was like, hold on, this is weird. It threw me out of a funk almost. And like I said, I just truly relied on my family to the utmost. And then I started talking to my friends. I started talking to coaches, and I started really speaking about what I'm dealing with, and speaking about the emotions that I've dealt with. And I mean, my girlfriend has been a huge part, because she's been someone that, she's always there for me, and I can always just look at her and be like, it's just not that day, the day is not good, but I'm gonna smile, because at the end of the day, I woke up today. And that's the only thing I could be grateful for, is being able to wake up, put my 2 feet on the ground, and just live my life.
Yeah, I feel like, grief is really interesting. One might argue there's 5 stages of grief, the final one being acceptance. There's some that say there's a 6th, which is meaning and finding meaning through loss. For you and the stages, have you gotten to a place where you found meaning in the loss of someone you looked up to so much?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, when you bring back the 5 stages of grief, I personally, when it happened a few days later, I accepted it very quickly. I was like, this is life. This is God's plan. This is how things are supposed to play out, So I can't sit here and bash on it or be angry or upset. I kind of just have to let things play out as it's supposed to. And then, I mean, speaking with you, speaking with Kevin Carroll, speaking with my mom, my dad, and just all these amazing people in my life, and just speaking to them just about real things, real emotions, real events that have played out, has kind of given me this sense of almost being proud of who I am and proud of the situation that came about, because I know that I went through a very difficult time and I came out even stronger than I ever could believe.
Yeah, you referenced Kevin Carroll. He's now on your staff at Washington, special advisor to the head coach, Jimmy Lake. Kevin has been, and I've told you this, has been a mentor of mine for more than a decade. So much so that whenever we talk, I'm like, yo, hold up, bro. I need to get home and get on my computer so I can take notes while we're talking. Your experience with him, I'm curious what it has been like. And I'm wondering, I'm betting he shared this phrase with you, but he shared it with me of like, find power in the pause. That helped me in COVID when my life was paused and I had loss. What's your relationship and what's that dynamic been like with Casey for you?
Yeah, I mean, Casey better than anybody, but that is truly one of the most profound people I've ever met in my life. I feel like every time I talk to him, every conversation we have, there's something I'm taking out of it, no matter how little it may be. But I mean, we talk all the time. We talk about things football wise, off the field. I mean, we talk about deals, we talk about business, anything you need, Casey has the answer. And I think one of the most impactful things that we've talked about truly has been angel numbers and the meaning behind that, the 444, the 222. And a funny story, actually, one of the first times he was on campus and we started chopping it up and we came across this idea of brands and just, who I want to be. And one of the things that came back was time. And he said, that it seems like I'm a big person about time. So whatever I do in life, it should be kind of evolve around time and how it plays out for me, how it works for me. And we had a nice 30-minute conversation and we get done and I'm like, okay, I'll see you later. Go home. And about 2 hours later, he texted me. He's like, Trent, when you get a chance, call me. I was like, oh, this seems urgent. Like, everything good? So I gave him a call. I was like, yo, KC, what's up? And he was like, you're not going to believe what just happened. And the room that we met in, that all these things transpired, was 444. And we had no idea. And he called me like 2 hours later, like, this is crazy that we just talked about the angel numbers. We just talked about who you are and kind of this deep conversation, and it all played out and happened to be in a room that was 444. So it's kind of our little dap that we are being watched and that we're on the right path.
You referenced angel numbers. You've got the number 22 on a necklace around your neck right now. You wear number 22. What's the meaning behind that? And is that, as you're referencing, an angel number?
Yeah, 222 actually is an angel number, which is, to me, means like I'm on the right path and you are doing what you have to be. You are where your feet are, as you said. And 22 has been my older brother who passed away, Tyler's number in high school. Never a number I wore, never a number that I would even think to wear, because I'm like, hey, that's my brother's number. I'm not going to steal your number. I'm going to find my own number. But coming to college, it was just the number they gave me out of nowhere. And the story I shared, it was so impactful and it was fate and it brought me so much joy. And 3 years later, I mean, I've thought about changing my number. Number 7 is a huge number around here, being a defensive guy, a leader, and it has a lot of resemblance in our program. But I talked to my family and we talked about it. I was like, you know what? I want to keep 22 because this is bigger than me, the number, truly. And another guy on our team, Brendan Randy Hiles, Buki, wears 44 for his brother. And we both talked about that and just shared about it's something that we can do to share about our lives while we're on the screen. While nobody knows who we are, nobody knows what our face looks like. but the 22 will always remain that people will know about. And hopefully they'll learn to know that it is Tyler's number and that I'm wearing it for him and his honor and his legacy.
What do you think about football players in terms of y'all wear helmets, right? Like we don't get to know the stories very often. Fans don't get to know the stories unless it's the one or two guys on the team.
Yeah.
And I'm curious if players talk about that now. You referenced story earlier and owning your story. Is that a dialogue amid your locker room and your community?
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, any football player I've ever come to know, any team I've ever been on, it's honestly always just been a group of guys sharing their stories. Like everybody, no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, it's always been a bunch of people who are strangers in a sense, all from different areas of the world, different communities, different lifestyles, all coming together and being a unit, being one, coming together and fighting for one thing. Because even though we have our differences, even though we have things some may like, some may not, at the end of the day, we know we have each other's back. And I just hope that for me personally, in a team wise, I'm the person that they can look to and be like, yo, Trent McDuffie is one of the most accountable dudes I've ever met. And I'm for sure when he's on the field, when he's off the field, if I ever give him a text or a call, he'll always be there for me.
Yeah, I think that's like, I look back on, I played over 20 years ago now, right? Ish. And I remember a few plays, but man, you know what? I remember like training camp in the locker room and we had triple sessions back in the day, or like a road trip. And my roommate in college when we went to games was Larry Fitzgerald, you know, and my roommate when I lived at home was Andy Lee. Both guys, you know, played 18 plus years in the league. And I just remember the dialogue. Like when you think back, I mean, you're still in it, but like what's like when I say favorite memory at UW, top three, like how many of them are on the field? And I'm curious what they might be if they are or if they're not.
Honestly, all three of them are probably off the field because we play so many games. We play so much football. Like football is our life. And as football players know, like we play many games. We have many practices. We make a lot of great plays. But the relationships that you build in a locker room that truly become solid relationships are the greatest experience you can ever experience, because you're talking about like one of my great friends on this team, Cam Williams, came from Bakersfield High School, lived in Bakersfield, never knew the guy, like ever, never seen him, came in here freshman year, you know, it was just a teammate. And then we moved out of the dorms, got our own apartments, and we lived close. So we were like, hey, started hanging out, and now he's like, it's my brother, really. I call him my brother, that's my guy. And I think one of the coolest memories is when he finally came outside of football. We hung out for the first time, and it was a sense of like, whoa, you're really cool, dude. Like, we get along really well. Like, why didn't we know this? Like, what stopped us from doing this? And I think that's one of the coolest memories, is just those moments where you talk to a guy and you're like, wait, like we're alike. Like, we're the same person almost, you know, even though you may come from Bakersfield, or you may come from out of state, or you may live in Hawaii even. Like, at the end of the day, we're all really the same guys. And it's kind of cool to be a part of that, because it gets you out of this me mind state and brings you into this team mind state of, you know, we're all a bunch of dudes with the same mind state, the same goals. And it's cool to be a part of, because you have a sense of community within your own team.
Yeah. I've always felt, and no disrespect to any other sport, but football is the greatest team sport in the history of sport, period. Because if one guy obviously screws up, misses a gap, misses a block, it's a wrap, usually a bust on the play. The guy leading your team now is obviously Jimmy Lake. He recruited you when he was a position coach, and he called your defenses as the D coordinator, and now he's your head coach. And the first time I met him, I was sitting next to Ted Robinson, my partner in the booth, and he leaves the room, and I go, that dude's a head coach. What was it like when he was in your living room? What was the first thing you said after he left to your family?
I mean, I've known Coach Lake forever. You know, he recruited a lot of guys from my high school. So we always had a mutual relationship of, how you doing? How you doing, coach? Like, yes, sir, and this and that. I remember him, Coach Pete, and Coach Harris all came to the apartment one time, and it was surreal. It was one of those first, like, well, this is a college coach, coming to my apartment. I got to act the part. I got to do this and that. And then within like 5 minutes, it was like we were just kicking it. It was like they weren't even coaches anymore. They were just older dudes teaching me about football, teaching me about life. And it was such a surreal moment because it finally clicked for me that, this isn't like college isn't this big, huge, monumental step of like, whoa, I have to act a certain way or go into this and do certain things. It really is a brotherhood. And at the end of the day, these coaches all love you and they respect you, and all they want to do is see you at your best. And once you understand that, kind of lifts a weight off your shoulders. And you're like, okay, I can go back to being me. I can go back to doing things that I do that make me comfortable and allow for me to do great on Saturdays. And I think Jimmy Lake, and back when Coach Pete was there, did a great job at just allowing you to be you and allowing to welcome you into a team and into an amazing culture that I've never seen from any other colleges.
The it factor is a phrase that I think is overused and often undefined. But in sport, especially in football, we throw it out all the time. It's got the it factor. Jake Browning has that it factor. Trent McDuffie has that it factor. Jimmy Lake hasn't. You get the point. Curious how you define the phrase.
Yeah, the it factor. I mean, we've all heard it before, and I've never truly tried to understand what the it factor means because, I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like each and every person on a team, each and every person in a sport in this world is unique in their own way. And everybody has their own part to play. Everybody has their own job to do within this team. And for me personally, when I think about the it factor, I think, who is that dude who is just themselves 24/7? Who is on that field that you look at and you're like, okay, I know for sure when he takes that helmet off, I know for sure 3 hours from now, he's going to be the same dude with the same fight, with the same responsibilities, the same, just who makes you you is to me what the it factor is.
I like that. Who makes you you? I've always felt that the it factor is defined as when someone walks into the room, you feel their presence and they make everyone around them better. In your experience, because now you're the guy that people point at, like, he's it. And it may mean next first round pick. It may mean the face of the program. It may mean lockdown corner. How would you define your own? Because people are probably always trying to define you.
Yeah. I like to say when I walk into a room, you are going to feel somebody who is the most down-to-earth person, someone who truly cares. And at the end of the day, somebody who, if you're slacking, I will let you know. Somebody who is going to make sure that you are at your best every day, because I hold myself to that standard. And we talk about standard a lot in this program. We talk about pulling each other up to our standard, right? We have a standard of what you should do, how you should practice, how you should be. And I like to just think about, when I walk into the room, are these guys looking at me like I'm the standard, or, he's lived to this standard and I have to catch up to him? That's how I like to walk into a room. Like, you are my peers. I have respect. We are here on the same level. I am not greater than you because I have done better in football or this or that. We're all on the same playing field. But one thing that I do have that you may not is this fight, this hunger, this tenacious dedication to being the best I can be, being this perfect cornerback, you want to call it, or technique has to be just right each and every day. And I just make sure to walk into each and every room with that same mentality, so that moving forward, when a few years down the road and these freshmen who used to watch me can just look at and be like, I know what he did, and I have to do the same thing in order to keep this standard exactly how it should be.
I like that, man. Last couple before we let you go. Worst piece of advice you got as a college athlete is what?
Worst piece of advice. Um, you know, being at UW, I don't know if I've come across advice that I've been like, yo, that's not right. Like, you got it twisted. I truly feel like from what Coach Pete has run and now that Coach Lake is here, they have instilled wisdom in me every single day. There's been something that I've come back every single day and been like, yo, I just learned something that I can instill in my life. I learned something that I can help my friend out who's struggling. I can go help my parents because they have given me just a little nugget each and every day that has made me into who I am, even allowed me to become this man who is accountable, reliable, allowed me to just be honest and open and truthful and down to earth. So I don't know if there is a bad advice, but some bad advice that I have heard is that I've heard people say, like, once you make it to the top, you know, it's okay to take a rep off because you're sore, you know, or, you know, maybe you should sit out this practice because we need you for Saturday. I don't believe that. I feel like if I'm going to be a leader, I need guys to look at me every day and know, yo, he's doing what he has to do. Even if I may be injured, even if I may have little tweaks or bruises, I need to make sure that everybody on the football field, everybody in the stadium knows that when the jersey comes on and 2-2 comes out, that he is doing what he has to do.
Best piece of advice the 2-2 has gotten is what?
Be where your feet are. I learned that from Coach Pete my freshman year. One of the first few meetings we had, Coach Pete always talked about how to better yourself as a man. I feel like Coach Pete did a good job at taking back football in meetings and turning up life advice, turning up how to be a man, how to be a father, how to be a husband, how to be just a great person. And something he said early on in my career was, be where your feet are because time flies. Things go fast. You know, I'm a junior now. It felt like I just came to campus and was learning about Seattle. So I think that is something that I've truly lived by now and something that I'm forever grateful and hearing about.
Every athlete needs to be reminded of that. I feel like it's still the year 2000 and I just got dropped off by my parents in training camp.
Exactly. Time flies so
a long
fast.
time ago. When you get to play in front of this faithful fan base, how can you describe that for somebody that's never run out of that tunnel?
It's definitely an honor because the city of Seattle has a long history of purple and gold. And when UW is on top, I know we have the Seahawks. I know we used to have the Sonics. We have basketball teams. We have hockey now, baseball. But when the purple and gold is lining it up on Saturday, the whole city of Seattle has your back. And I mean, I can't explain the energy, the vibe, how loud the stadium gets on a third down when it's peaking the game on Saturday. I mean, when you come to Husky Stadium, just know that you truly are coming to the greatest setting in college football.
When it's the night before the game or after a game and you have that quiet moment, that space between the chaos, the busyness, the schedule, what's the conversation with Tyler like?
Yeah, actually, I'm glad you brought that up. That was really cool. I don't get that asked a lot. I'm a big meditation guy now, actually. I like to take 10 minutes usually throughout my day and just sit back and relax and be grateful. You know, I think that's the first thing off the top of my head. I just thank God and for everything in my life. You know, I'm in a blessed position where I am. And, you know, there's a lot of people who could wish where I am. And there's a lot of things that have happened in my life that I could look and be like, well, this happened or this happened. And, oh, I'm mad now. But I mean, I'm the most grateful person in the world. And each and every day that I get to wake up and smile and shake people's hands and look people in the eyes is meaningful to me because we don't get many of those. And I mean, every time I close my eyes and as soon as I go onto the field before a game and I rush out to the entrance, I find my 22-yard line, say my prayer, and just tell Tyler that he's about to just watch one of the greatest movies he's ever seen. That's how I like to put it. I'm like, dude, you're up there chilling, kicking your feet back. You're just watching a movie right now. And, you know, I'll see him soon and I love him. And You know, he has taught me a lot from being gone. Just how to be a man, how to approach certain things, and all the little nuggets he's given me when I was young that go over my head. I just think back now and be like, yo, you were dropping some knowledge on me when I was a little one, you know. I just wasn't there to grasp it yet, but I got it now. So it's always a mutual love between me and him.
Well said. And if you had to finish the sentence, curious how you would do it. The sentence is, it all comes down to.
I think it all comes down to who you are and the dedication you have for your craft. I think there are many people, everybody can be it, like we talk about. Everybody has that in them. But I think some people give up at times. Some things get hard and people take a step back. And I think the ones who really are these big time guys that you see are just dedicated to what they need to do each and every day. Dedicated to the details, dedicated to who they are, and just dedicated to being this person that they envision themselves, to their goals, to their aspirations. And I think that's something that I can look at myself and be like, I'm really dedicated to being not only a great football player, but being a great person. And hopefully one day I can be a great husband and a great father, and so on and so on.
I'm not a betting guy, but if I was, I would bet that you're going to be an incredible husband and father, man. Thanks for joining the show today. Really appreciate it.
I had so much fun. Thank you so much.
I love it. Trent McDuffie, All-American candidate, first-round draft pick. But as we learned today, a brother, a son, somebody who continues to carry on the legacy of Tyler, his older brother, rocking number 22 and sharing these stories. We got a lot of stories here at the It Factory. That's what this show is about. It's about taking the helmet off of the athlete, the performer, and diving into who they are, what their makeup is. What is that thing that makes them tick? What is their It Factory? If you want more episodes, just go to pack-12.com/insider or listen to the podcast anywhere you can find a podcast. You'll find this one, and I think you'll really enjoy today's conversation. Peace.